Welcome everybody to tonight's presentation on more keyword research. I'm Trevor, I'm going to be your presenter, and this is going to be sort of a build-off of what we talked about the previous week. So this is kind of webinar number 2 in a series that we're putting together for keyword research. Last week's, if you need a copy of it or you haven't seen it, contact your coach and they'll get it to you. But even if you haven't seen last week's webinar, this is going to be fine because we're going to recover a couple of the things that we talked about last week. So one of the things, just to sort of follow up from last week, we talked about building out a keyword list. And this is mainly for those of you guys that are in a spot where you're just really getting into internet marketing. You've got a website, preferably you've tested it out, you know it works, you know you can place orders on it, you won't be upset if people are coming to your site. You're kind of in a position where you want that to happen, but you're not really sure how to do it. And so a lot of this keyword research is geared towards helping your site get found in a Google search or a search in Bing or Yahoo or whatever the case may be. So let me see if I can illustrate real quick. I'm gonna attempt to draw you guys something, and you'll have to tell me if this is useful or not. But sometimes for me, it's easier for me to explain some of this stuff if I can just draw some of it out for you. Some of you guys are this will be a little more of a review. Others, I think you'll appreciate this, but it's worth going over. So let's assume you have a website here, and for the sake of this example, and examples to come, we're going to be using this site, uptownpearl.com, one that I'm sort of a partner in. And so we're going to use this as sort of the basis of some of our discussion tonight and then in subsequent presentations. So let me go back and sort of draw this out for a sec. If you think about how a website is put together, you have a home page, right? And that's kind of like that's the main page. We're just going to call this the HP right here, home page. Right, it's your main page. It's definitely one you want to look nice. And then that website that we're talking about, in this case, Uptown Pearl, is broken down into a series of subpages. You got your main home page, and then what breaks off of that, you've got a bunch of different pages. So we'll call this one. This is a category page. See, I've got really kind of like your top level secondary categories. These would be like your product categories. So, this would be like my we'll just call this like category A. Cat A. Sorry, writing with a mouse is actually not very easy to do. So hopefully you can read my writing here. We're going to call this category B. Right, here's your second category. Category C will be this one, so on and so forth. And then you've got other pages too, right? Like you've got this is like an info page. We'll say this is your shipping page. And then this is whatever this is. This is your returns page, right? So these pages, I'll just label a couple others. We'll just call them generically. These are like info pages, info, etc. Okay, I'm not going to keep writing that out. And then your category pages. For most of you guys, if you're running an e-commerce store, right? Category A here is going to have a series of products that are attached to it. So these are all product pages. Right here, here's a product page, here's a product page, and we won't label this out anymore. But, same with category B here. They have subcategories. So this is kind of like your top level navigation, your main pages, and then you've got subcategories, especially if you're an e-commerce site. Those products are actual pages though, and that's what I'm trying to illustrate to you guys. If you come to a site like this, we're on the home page right now. We go to bracelets. That brings up all of our bracelets. This is an individual page. This is category A. And then if you click on this specific product, this is a separate page. Okay, completely different from the other pages of your site. Although there's some elements that look the same, to a search engine, this is a totally separate and distinct page. Okay, and I sort of lay this out for you guys because ultimately, let's say you've got Google here. I'm going to do my best to recreate like a little Google search bar. Here's Google. Here's the search bar right here, right? And you type in a keyword search. Well, Google searches its index of pages, right? And if you've done a good job on your SEO, which we'll talk more about later, Google may draw upon one of these pages in its list of websites that it lists after you do the search. It may actually draw upon like category A here and list that in its Google search. Maybe, depending on what the keyword search is, it may draw upon, instead of category A, maybe it's very specific to a certain type of bracelet and it draws upon, this specific type of product, right? So if you've got this giant website, you've got a home page, you've got category pages, you've got products. If you look at this site right here, Uptown Pearl, it's probably, if you think of all the products that are here, there's probably, I don't know, I'm trying to count real quick. I don't know, there's probably 50 products or so on the site. There might be more than that. But let's say there's 50 products. So that's 50 individual unique pages plus your category pages. I've got 3 main categories. That's 53 plus my home page, 54. I'm not really counting these informational pages right here because I really don't care too much to have those rank in Google. So I'm really right now only concerned with trying to get my home page to rank, my category pages to rank, and then my individual products to rank. Those are the ones that I want to have show up high in Google, right? So that's going to be our emphasis. All this keyword research you guys would have done prior to, it's time to sort of organize it, and that's exactly what we're going to do tonight. And I'm going to show you, at least for me, what's worked out to be the best way to organize my keyword research so that as I go into my search engine marketing, I'm not scatterbrained. I actually have a really specific plan to try to get every single one of these pages to get a ranking. Because if you think about it, if you limited all your SEO just to get your homepage to rank, you'd be doing yourself a huge disservice. Sure, you want your homepage to rank, right? You want to get found through your homepage. But how often when you do a Google search, is it the homepage that comes up of a website? It's not always the homepage. It could be one of these categories or one of these products. So because I have 50 or more pages like this, I want every single one of them to show up high in Google because it just gives me, it broadens my horizons to bring in more traffic. I have more of an opportunity. The analogy I always use, guys, and I know you've heard, some of you who've worked with me for a while have heard this, but I compare it a little bit to if you're out fishing in the middle of a lake and you've got one fishing pole hanging out of the boat. You can only catch so many fish, but if you had 2 fishing poles or 5 or 10 or 25, or in this case 50 plus, your opportunity for catching fish is much greater. And it's the same with a website. If you guys will optimize every single one of your individual pages here, which, don't get me wrong, that's a lot of work, but if you'll optimize each one, you'll do your keyword research, organize it like we're going to do tonight, and then optimize for each one, you're going to pull in a ton of traffic. And that's how the very best websites do it. You don't just hope everybody finds you through your homepage. You optimize each individual page. Okay. So what do we do to organize it? By the way, if you guys have questions, please ask away. I think I've only seen a couple of questions come in so far. James has one. James asks, should your homepage be your business name? I might have you clarify that question for me. Usually your homepage is usually branded by whatever your domain name is. So in this case, this website's www.uptownpearl.com. So we've got it branded there at the top. And usually you just have some general information. You might have a banner. I've got some featured products here, and then some other categories and information. But usually it's just more of a general page, if that makes sense. So I'll get some clarification on that in just a second, James. So let me take you guys into this idea of organizing all your keyword research, because up to this point, hopefully, if you've done sort of what we talked about last week, you'll have a giant list of all sorts of really good keywords that you've discovered. Now it's time to organize it. So here's how I do it. Now, if you talk to different SEOs and people that are responsible for marketing, they're all going to give you kind of a different opinion on what they think is best in terms of organizing. Actually, let me pull up a different account here. So I'm not pretending like this is the best way, but for me, it's first of all, it's free. So I'm not using any advanced SEO tools to do this. It's a free spreadsheet program that I use. Now, some of you guys are going to be familiar with this. I'm curious. Let me ask you guys: do many of you guys use Google spreadsheets? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you probably don't. But Google spreadsheets or Google Docs, it used to be called. Now I think it's called Google Drive. Some of you probably do. James, it looks like you do. Yeah. Catherine, no. Laura, no. Okay, so some of you guys have, others not so much. It looks like the consensus is mostly no. Well, let me ask you this. You guys know what Microsoft Excel is? And I definitely know some of you guys use Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word, right? It seems like everybody uses Word and Excel. Well, a lot of you guys will have that. Some of you guys that are on Macs won't have that because it doesn't usually come. That's a Microsoft product. The good thing is Google sort of recreated all of that in a watered down form. So if you have like a Google account, or in this case, you're looking at a Gmail account for one of my businesses, there's something called Google Drive. Okay, and I'll just show you that right now. So let's say you're in your Gmail account, right? And if you guys don't have a Gmail, I would get one for marketing purposes because we use a lot of Google products. So set up a Gmail account and use this. But here I am in my Gmail account. I can come right up here, and there's this little icon right here. If you can see my mouse, I'm sort of moving it around this icon. I'm going to click on it. It's the apps icon, and I'm going to go over here to this Drive link. This is Google Drive. So I'm going to click on that. Or if you're logged into your account, you can just go to drive.google.com, and that'll take you here. Okay. This is what it looks like, and you can create documents using it. So I'm just going to hit New right here, and I can create like a PowerPoint presentation. It's called Google Slides. Google Sheets is basically the equivalent of Excel, and Google Docs is the equivalent of like doing a Microsoft Word document. Now, the reason why I'm not using Microsoft Word, I've got that on this computer, but I'm not using it, or I'm not using Excel, is because I like the fact that if I set up Google Docs, it's all done online. And so wherever I am, whether I'm here in my home office, at my work office, I could be away on vacation and trying to manage my business, it's all saved online. So I don't have to like save the file and take it with me. So it's pretty cool. It's always there in your Gmail account, essentially. So I'm not going to give you a big lesson on using Google Docs. I don't profess to be an expert, but at least I'm going to show you today how I set up one of these tracking sheets. So I'm going to go to Google Sheets right here, and I'm going to click on that. And it's going to be, for those of you guys who use Excel, it's going to look somewhat familiar. It's a giant grid, right? Again, it is very watered down. It can't do all the things that Excel does, but it does enough, especially for what we're doing here. So what I want to do with our time together is I want to just show you how I set up a spreadsheet like this, and how I'd recommend you guys do it. And you're going to use this for a long, long time to track a lot of your SEO progress with certain keywords that you're trying to rank for. Let me see. I'm just checking your guys' comments real quick. Yeah, a lot of you guys are saying I use this kind of stuff a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Catherine says you mean kind of like Max's notes program. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I've used that. Sam says, should we research keywords for your logo name? Possibly. In your keyword research, like for example, in this case, Uptown Pearl. Uptown Pearl, there's probably not a lot of people that search for it because it's more of a company name. So I haven't done a lot of keyword research. I did initially when I was choosing a domain name just to see what's out there, which is sometimes wise. When you're choosing your actual domain name, it doesn't hurt to do a Google search for it to make sure that something else isn't branded for it. But it doesn't really matter that much because I'm not really targeting searches for Uptown Pearl. I'm going to be targeting more generic searches. So let me show you guys real quick sort of how to do this. Oh, yeah, you're right, James. A Mac has a function like this. I forget even what it's called, James. What's it called? Like iWorks or something? I can't remember. But the bottom line is, even if you've got programs like this on your computer, it's cool to do it through Google Docs so it just stays with you everywhere you go. That's kind of the idea. So let me show you, let me build out this spreadsheet really quick, and it won't take very long. It'll be a good tutorial for you guys who don't know much about spreadsheets. I'm gonna title this document first, just right up here at the top, and I'm gonna call this Uptown Pearl. We'll just call it keyword research, and hit OK. So that's the title of my document, and then I'm gonna start labeling my fields. So this will be my title field. I'll just kind of repeat what I just wrote here. Okay, again, you guys can spin off of this, but for those of you guys who aren't really comfortable with spreadsheets, that's why I'm doing this. For those of you guys that are really good at it, you can spin off and sort of create this how you want to. So right here, I'm going to make a bunch of different columns, okay? So I'm going to say this is going to be my target keyword phrase column. And then I'll make this look better here in just a second. And I'll say this is my page ID. This is going to be my page URL. I'm going to call this my Moz. I'm going to call it just competition percentage. I'm going to call this volume. Let's see, what else would I put here? I'll explain each one of these fields here in just a second. I'm going to say current. I'm going to say ranking ? And then I'm going to do a notes column. Okay. So I'm going to build this out. I'm going to highlight all of these. Whoops. Actually, let me format this a little bit first so it looks okay. So I'm going to, again, don't get bogged down if you can't do all this because I'm going to go kind of quickly, but I'm going to highlight this first row right here and I'm going to merge the cells together so it creates one cell, and then I'm going to center it. Okay, just like that. And so it's centered above my columns here. And I'm also going to stretch these columns out a little bit so you can read them better. Page ID, URL is going to need to be a bigger field. Competition, volume are probably going to be smaller. Ranking, and then notes. So I'm just stretching out these columns a little bit. And just so you guys can see it better, I'm going to highlight all of this. And then I'm going to click this option right here, this borders option. And I'm just going to put borders around everything so it's all aligned a little bit better. And then I'm just going to change some things up just to make it easier to read. I'm going to bold this title section, maybe increase the size a little bit. The nice thing is I can make this available to you guys as like a template. So you don't necessarily have to recreate this. I can send you the template of it, and then you guys can just use the template if that's easier. But anyway, it's nice to kind of know how to work at it like this too. So and you can add some color too. So I'm going to highlight this field right here, and I'm going to give it a fill color, whatever, this blue color, and then maybe my subcategories here, I'll give it a lighter fill color like that. Okay, so it kind of looks a little bit nicer. Maybe I even bold this column. See, I highlight it all and hit bold. So there, I mean, looks a little nicer at least. So you can kind of stay a little bit better organized. For those of you guys who don't know how to use this stuff, is this going too fast, or are you guys okay? For those of you guys who do know how to use spreadsheets, this is probably all just very basic for you. Okay, I'll just wait for you guys to give me feedback there. All right, so here's our keyword spreadsheet here, and we can add columns and take things away, I suppose, if you want. But I feel like this has all of the important stuff that we need. Now, if you go back and look at this specific site, the site we're talking about, which is oh, I got rid of it. Hold on, let me bring it back up. uptownpearl.com. Yeah, too fast, huh, Sam? Sorry about that. Again, this is going to be recorded, so you'll be able to kind of watch me do that. We'll probably do some other webinars later on like the basics of using Google Docs and Google spreadsheets. But for those of you guys where that was too fast, I can get you a template or show you how to do it in one of our sessions. Okay, so I want to organize this now. And this should be pretty easy for most of you guys because most of you guys have pretty basic, easy e-commerce sites to organize. Just kind of like I drew it out just a few minutes ago. You've got your home page, your categories, etc. So I'll show you how I'll set this up. Back to my spreadsheet. So page IDs, I've got my home page, and I've got my bracelets page. I've got my earrings page. I've got my necklaces page. Okay, those are my categories. And then I've got my products after that. So I could start listing my products underneath that. I'd go to my bracelets, and then I'd start listing each one of these. The Taylor, the Lauren, the Baby Delilah. So I would just start listing these. Okay, so this is just the title of each one of these products, right? Okay, and for me, just to keep this better organized, I'm going to put -B for bracelet, just so I can remember. That's a bracelet. That's a bracelet, okay? And like I said, remember, products are individual pages, so I care about these. I would like this page, the Taylor bracelet, to rank for a specific type of keyword search. Same with the Lauren, same with the Delilah. I'm not going to do all the pages right now, but I'll add some earrings here. So we'll do the Katie, the Joy, and the Melanie. The Melanie. And these were, what were these? These were earrings, right? So I'm going to put -E, -E, -E. There's no hard and fast rules here, guys. You can label these how you want with your own site. And then let me just do the other category. Necklaces, we'll just do the first three here as well. The Bonnie, the Abigail, and the Pamela. Okay. Bonnie, Abigail, the Pamela. Okay. And these are necklaces. Okay, so I'm just sort of building out the structure here of my spreadsheet. Okay, there's my pages. Now, obviously, these products would go a mile long, right? Because I've got 50 products. But just for the sake of time, I'm not going to label all of these right now. Now, what about my informational pages, right? I haven't included here my gift certificates page or my about page or my shipping page. Do I care about those pages? Not really. Like, I'm not trying to get my shipping page to rank high in Google. I don't care about getting my about page to rank high in Google. So do I need to include these? If you're trying to get those pages to rank in Google for something, then great, do it. But I'm not. It's hard for an e-commerce site to get a general information page on shipping or returns or your About Us page to rank. It just probably won't work. The pages we care about are homepage, categories, and products, right? And then later on, your blog pages we would care about, but that'll be a discussion for another time. So here we are. So we've got our pages laid out. Now, I at this point, you would have done a massive list of a lot of keyword brainstorming based on what we did last time. You'd probably have keywords that would be a good fit for these different pages already. I'm going to do a couple of examples of the research with you, and then kind of walk you through how I do the rest. So this will be a bit of a review, but I'm going to go to Moz real quick. Moz, remember, Moz.com is an SEO suite for tools and stuff for people who do internet marketing. It's $100 a month. I don't really want any of you guys to be paying $100 a month for something like this. So you can just run a free trial on it and use it for a month, and you can do a lot of your keyword research in that space of time, and then cancel your membership, and then maybe use a different email address later and fire up another membership so you can use it again. So keywords. So I'm going to go to this tool right here. It's called Keyword Analysis. And I'm going to go through this part a little faster, guys, because I did this in just a ton of detail last time. Okay, so I'll zoom in so you guys can see this. So I'm looking for a keyword phrase for, let's start with my homepage here. Here's the homepage. Whatever keyword phrase I choose here, I want to rank well. I mean, it's essentially what I'm choosing my homepage to rank for in Google. So I want it to be something that would make sense. Something more general, right? Because it's just a homepage. So I'm going to start looking things up here in the tool. I'm going to look up. You guys can give me some ideas too. I'd love to hear some ideas of what you think this page should rank for. But I'm going to put in, you know, pearl jewelry, buy pearl jewelry, buy pearl jewelry online, real pearl jewelry, quality pearl jewelry, classy pearl jewelry, real pearls. I don't know. Let's see what that gives me. Yeah, Bill was asking if I was putting any formulas into my spreadsheet, and no. For this one, I'm really not. You could really make this fancy though, because you could put in formulas, and you can filter by keyword difficulty percentages and do all sorts of different things. But we're just going to keep this really rudimentary, keep it easy for everybody. Oh yeah, good one, Laura. Contemporary pearls, maybe, or contemporary. Better yet, contemporary pearl jewelry, maybe. Online pearl jewelry. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, James. Pearl. So let's do pearl jewelry store. Online pearl jewelry store. See, guys, had I done what you guys should have been doing the week before, I would have already done a lot of this. Like I'd have this giant list of already researched out keyword phrases. I'm sort of behind on this, so I'm going to kind of do it as we're going along. But I'm going to look at some of the results of what I'm seeing here. And I'm looking for something that has kind of a low keyword difficulty and a higher volume is really what I'm looking for. Good. This is good right here. Look at this. Look at that volume right there. Remember, this is Bing volume. This is supposed to be on average how many people or how many times this keyword pearl jewelry is searched for in Bing in a month. That's 1,700 times. Remember, Google is hundreds of. Bing's probably 3% of the internet, whereas Google's a much bigger percent. So this number is going to be much bigger throughout the internet. Don't look at these numbers sort of as a general idea of how popular a keyword phrase is. These aren't going to be way accurate, but they're going to give you kind of an idea. So this is obviously going to be a very popular phrase. It's probably searched for quite a bit on the internet versus you look at some of this other stuff. Look at pearl jewelry compared to buy pearl jewelry. This is a harder to rank for because the percentage is higher, this buy Pearl jewelry, and it's 13. So it's not even nearly as close to as popular as Pearl jewelry. Now, I'm a little more apt on my homepage to go for a bit more of a higher caliber keyword phrase, because my homepage is going to naturally get a lot of links to it. Naturally, it's going to be looked at pretty favorably by Google, or it could be. So usually one of your strongest pages on your website. So I usually attack a pretty competitive keyword phrase for my homepage. In this case, I'm going to go for, I just think based on our research here, it's the choice is easy. Pearl jewelry at 48% with 1,700 is going to be what I'm going to shoot for. So that's my goal now for my homepage. I really want it to rank high for Pearl jewelry. So I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet. My target keyword phrase, I'll just put it in. Pearl jewelry. Competition, I believe, was 48. I'm just going to put it in as 48. Volume, what was it, 1697, something like that. Let me just double check those numbers. Yeah, 48, 1697. Okay, so you see where I'm pulling those numbers, guys. I'm going to pull out this data, and I'm going to bring it here into my spreadsheet. And then page URL is simply just the web address for this page ID. So what's the web address for my homepage? It's this right here. It's just uptownpearl.com. So I'm just going to put in my web address right here. Just copy and paste that in. Boom. Okay. So I've got my goal. I want to rank my homepage for Pearl jewelry. I've got the URL here. It's easy for me to see that that's my goal. My competition's 48%, my volume 1697. Now I've got this column here for ranking question mark. And I'm gonna explain that one in just a minute. So let's wait on that. That's basically gonna be where I'm gonna track my current ranking. Right now, if I went to Google and did a search for Pearl jewelry, I wouldn't be able to find my site. I'm sure of it, just because we haven't done enough marketing. And this should be the beginning phase. And then notes or any notes about maybe what you're doing to try to get rankings for this. So the main thing that you're probably trying to do initially in organizing your keyword phrases are these columns right here. You want to get that filled out for your entire website. Let's do it for another category. Before we do, though, let me look back at your comments. Let's see. Oh, can you guys hear me okay? Bill, you were saying the audio was broken for a sec. Hopefully you guys are all hearing me all right. And by the way, I'm getting a lot of commentary, so I apologize if I missed something that you asked. Okay, good. A lot of you guys are still saying it's, yeah, it must have just cut out there for a minute for you, Bill. I'm not sure what happened. All right, so and to answer your question, B, yes, this is for tracking purposes. The whole reason why we're doing all this is so that on a regular basis, and I don't know what that's going to be for you. That might be once every month. You come in and you're going to check your progress, and I'll explain that here in just a second. But that's right, B, this is for tracking purposes. Laura, let me read your question here. You said when you add quote unquote Pearl jewelry, so this keyword phrase that we're looking at, to the SEO for the homepage, do you want that to be the only words you put in there? Would it do damage adding other words before or after that specific phrase? It wouldn't necessarily do damage to it, but that is the target phrase. So I mean, buy Pearl jewelry contains Pearl jewelry in it, right? So the keyword phrase buy Pearl jewelry also has Pearl jewelry just sort of inside it. But really, it's difficult to target both phrases. And when we do SEO, and I kind of explain that a little bit better to you guys, you'll see why that is. I would just assume just target the phrase as it is exactly, as it is as we researched it out of Moz, and use only that phrase. One phrase per page at this point. I think that's a good rule of thumb. Okay. Oh, and by the way, so Laura's asking sort of what do we do, like, so assuming that we've chosen pearl jewelry, right? That's what we're going to optimize our homepage around. The question then is, like, how do I actually optimize it? How do I bring in pearl jewelry onto the homepage and really try to make it relevant? That's part of the on-site optimization that I'll be explaining probably over the next couple of weeks in some more webinars. So really for today, this is mainly just getting yourself completely organized before you embark on trying to optimize your entire site. Okay, so let's do it for another page. Let's do it for my bracelets page. That's the next one here. So I'm going to go back to the Moz tool, and I'm going to start spitting out as many things as I can come up with that would be related to the pearl bracelets, okay? So I think naturally I'm going to do pearl bracelet. Let me make sure I'm spelling that right. Yep, I'm spelling that right. Maybe I do pearl bracelets, plural. And you guys feel free to put in some ideas here. We'll do quality pearl bracelets. We'll do real pearl bracelets. Cultured pearl bracelets. By pearl bracelet. You can do the plural of a lot of this. So I'm going to say by pearl bracelet, by pearl bracelets. So Bill brings up an interesting question. What about just the word bracelets or bracelet? Should I even look at that keyword phrase? What do you guys think? That actually brings up some interesting discussion. We'll talk about that. Pearl. I'm just typing in some of your guys' suggestions here. Laura, beautiful pearl bracelets. Okay, I'm going to check difficulty on these, and we'll see what we come up with. I think that's enough there. The cool thing is you're doing your research. Like, even though we're choosing only one phrase per page here, we can use other variations elsewhere. And I'll explain more about that later. Because there might be a lot of good keyword phrases that we figure out here. All right, I'm already getting some results back. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Let's see, pearl bracelet, 37% and 951. That's already probably what I want because the percentage is really good here. Anytime you can find something in the 30s or lower, it's always good. 40% at 636. That's the plural version of it. The other ones aren't performing quite as well. Now, bracelets isn't even giving me any information right now. And to Bill's question, why not try to rank your page for bracelets? Well, I'll tell you why. If somebody did a search in Google for bracelets and this page showed up, there's a possibility that they may want to buy one of these bracelets, but these are all specific to pearls. When they searched for bracelet, maybe they were just looking for, I mean, who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, they're looking for a bracelet, but maybe it's a gemstone bracelet or a charm bracelet or a silver bracelet. I mean, it's too hard to say. So like ranking for the high for the word bracelets, I mean, it may be good because there's a lot of searches out there for it, but I would prefer to rank for a more specific phrase because the chances of a visitor who types in pearl bracelet buying from my site versus a visitor who just types in bracelet and buying from my site, I've got a much better chance of selling the pearl one because that's what they're after, if that makes sense. So, and oftentimes too, Bill, the generic form of the word or the sort of like the, you know, the general bracelet, that's going to be hard to rank for. The percentages are usually a lot higher. And that even shows up here in Moz because for bracelets, it's at 50. Oh, whoops, sorry. Hold on here. There we go. It's at 53% for bracelet. That's really high. That would be hard for us to rank for. So I probably wouldn't target that. I'm looking for lower percentages here. let me read some of your other comments here. Sorry, when I pause right here while we're talking, I'm just reading some of your guys' comments. Yeah, and I agree, Laura. Like, it would be sweet if I could get my site, if I could get a page on my site to rank at the top of Google for the word bracelet, I'd get a ton of traffic, I'm sure, and I'd close sales, no question. I'm just going to close a higher percentage of sales if it's a more specific keyword, and it's always worth a shot to go for one of those general ones. Keeping in mind, though, that really, if I have my choice for this specific page, chances are my best bet is to go something specific. Okay. All right, so what do we decide? Pearl bracelets, probably our strongest. 37%, 951 right here is a volume. That's pretty good volume. I'd love that if I could pull that kind of volume for this. So yeah, let's do that. Pearl. Now wait a minute, was it bracelet or bracelets? That's the question. Pearl bracelet, singular. Okay, and the URL for the page that I'm going after is this one right here. I'm going to copy this URL. Boy, I'm feeling unorganized. I've got too many windows up right now. Okay, I think this was 37%, and then the volume score on it was 951. 951. Okay. The problem with this is the plural form was pretty good too. You guys remember? So this is 37%, 951. The plural, pearl bracelets, was 40%, so a little more difficult and a little less popular. Ultimately, I'd like this page to rank for both of these, and at some point we might be able to do that. But when you're first starting your SEO, just go one phrase per page. That's your best bet. Choose the best one that's available to you. So Sam asks, how big of a list can you do on Moz at one time? Really, they give you 400 keywords per day that you can check with your membership, and then you can put in 20 at a time, 20 separate keyword phrases into this box at a time. So you can do a lot. Okay, let's, just for the sake of time, let's skip down to a product, which is a little tougher to do sometimes. I'm going to skip earrings and necklaces. Let's do this tailor. It's a type of bracelet, and let's look at it together so you guys can see what we're trying to do. Okay, let me bring up this window. Bracelets. This is the tailor right here. I'll show you what this one looks like. So you can kind of see it as I'm zooming in. I don't know why it's called the tailor, but there you have it. You can kind of see what it looks like. It has these like little sort of shiny stones. They're not pearls, but in this one, 3 sort of shiny pearl looking things. And then the rest are real cultured pearls. 21 freshwater pearls. Crystal beads, that's what they call them. So 3 crystal beads, and then it gives you the dimensions here. So that's what it is. So the question is, what do I want this individual product page to rank for? You know as much about it as I do. I mean, this is it right here. It's a real pearl. It's a real pearl bracelet, and there's 21 of them. They're freshwater pearls. There you have it. So we've got to come up with something unique, some sort of unique phrase. We don't ever want to sort of repeat what we've already got here. So all of the phrases we choose here, we want them to be separate, distinct, and unique. If we don't, the analogy is a little like, for those of you guys who fish, if you cast your fishing line in one place and then your buddy who you're fishing with casts their fishing line in the exact same place, usually that's not the smartest thing. Maybe you're limiting yourself a little bit. We don't want to do that either. We want different, distinct keyword phrases for every single one of our pages. which, like I said, isn't always easy, especially in this case when I've got a lot of pearl bracelets that look very similar. It's going to be hard for me to differentiate, but I hope I can come up with something interesting here. So let's try typing in some more stuff. Let's go back to our Moz tool, thinking this specific product in mind. Let's try to type some stuff in. So I could always do the plural, remember, pearl bracelets. Maybe I could optimize for that, right? Because we didn't use it for the general page. Maybe I could do it for this specific product. How about wedding pearl bracelet or bridesmaid pearl bracelet or trendy pearl bracelet or real pearl bracelet? You know, we could go on and on. Hopefully in this little list here, we'll find one that'll work for this one. So even if I've got several different bracelets that are very similar, hopefully I can optimize using different keyword phrases as we research here. So here's that same one, pearl bracelets, which we'll think about using. Wedding pearl bracelet, 48% and 3, so that's not great. Some of these that have 0 here, remember, based on our last webinar, it doesn't mean that there's 0 people searching for it. It just means in Bing it's not showing any data. There could be a lot of searches still out there, but relative to these other ones, it's not as popular. Real pearl bracelet's not bad, but I think I'll probably use the plural, because the plural had still a really good number. So pearl bracelets, let's use that. It's 40% and it's 636. So I think that'll be a good one for this specific product. So I'm going to do pearl bracelets, 40 and 636. The URL for this one, I'm going to grab right here. Here's the specific URL. And I'm going to paste that in right here, okay? Now, if you look at my, and I'm going to show you this as an example because I think you guys will find this true on your site too. Look at this other product right here. So this is the Taylor we just did. Here's the Lauren. And look how similar this is, right? It almost looks the same except for it doesn't have those shiny beads, those 3 beads on it. They're real pearls. It's the same exact bracelet without those shiny beads. That's it. I think it's just got a few fewer pearls on it. So go back to our original list here. I'll bet we can just pull one off of here that would work well. Real pearl bracelet right here. That's 48%. Now that's a little high. I don't think that's going to be easy to rank for. I'd prefer something a little lower. And I might do more keyword research to see if I can come up with something a little bit lower. But let's just go with this for now. So real pearl bracelet, 48%, and 40 is the volume. Bracelet, 48 was the competition, 40 was the volume. I'll grab the URL, and then we're going to move on from this for a sec. Hopefully, just with me doing a few examples like this, guys, you're seeing the intuition behind what we're trying to do here. So again, this is the Lauren. Let me go back to my spreadsheet. Here we go. Paste in the URL. There we go. So you can see we've only done 4 pages so far. I've got, what, like 50 to go? So, like, you're going to want to break this up into pieces. Sitting down and doing this all in one night is bad because it's going to drive you crazy, and you're going to get lazy. Like, I'm already getting a little lazy, right? I probably could have spent more time trying to find a better keyword phrase. Real pearl bracelet, the competition was a little high based on the volume. Maybe I could have found a better phrase for it, but just for the sake of the example, I'm going to call that good. We could have worked for a little longer. So that's why I want you guys to consider breaking up a lot of this research. You get lazy naturally. I mean, we're human. The quality of your work is probably going to diminish a little bit. as you spend more and more time in one day on this. So let's assume, though, for a second that I've completed my spreadsheet here. You know, it'd be a mile long. It would have all my important pages listed. All the data here is listed. We'd be ready for the next step, which in all actuality would be checking for rankings. Now, I don't think you need to check for rankings really at this stage, because you're probably not ranking for any of this. You're just starting your keyword work. It would be very unlikely that you're naturally just pulling up high in Google. I suppose it could happen, especially if you've got a website that's a little bit older. Sometimes you'll find yourself ranking for stuff, but unless you've made a decision to do this and have done SEO, chances are you probably aren't ranking. So I'm not going to look for the ranks, but I'm going to show you something. I'm going to give you an example of a site that does have rankings and kind of how I would check that out. There's two ways you could do this. Like, I could go to Google right now. I'll open up another tab. And here we go. Google.com. And I'm going to check my very first listing. My very first one was pearl jewelry for my homepage. So I could just type that in, pearl jewelry. And I could check, and I could just start combing through Google. Okay, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. Nope, not on the first page. Go to the second page. Comb through this. Nope. 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 Okay. I mean, I'm not even gonna do this because I know I'm not in any of this right now. I mean, I guess this site might be, but if it's on like page 96 of Google, the chances are 0% that anybody's going to find it. I mean, you're only really going to get traffic if you're on the first 2 or 3 pages, and primarily on the first. So if you're not there, you're not even really relevant. So you could search this way, but I use a cool little tool that I want to show you guys. And this is the web address for it. It's called What Page of Search Am I On.com. What page of search am I on.com. This is a way to basically automate what I was just trying to do. Okay, so keywords, pearl jewelry. I'm wondering if my URL, my homepage, uptownpearl.com is ranking for pearl jewelry. And I'm going to hit search. And it's going to look. It's going to be looking for Google. And sure enough, it can't find me. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you something that I am ranking for one of my other sites. I'm going to put in Mockingjay pin, and I'm going to put in HTTP. This is the page that I want to see if I'm ranking for. Mockingjaypinstore.com, and do a search. And this is going to look for me. And sure enough, there it is. So I'm on page 1 of Google. And I can kind of scroll through it, and I'm on towards the bottom. And I verified this tool. It's pretty accurate. If I actually go to Google and do the same thing manually, google.com, and I do Mockingjay pin and do a search, I'm on the first page of Google right here. So that's pretty accurate. That's about where I was. I'm on the first page. So later on, guys, rather than just like combing Google looking for where you are, if you use this tool, as long as you know what your target keyword phrase is and then the URL you're trying to rank for, this will automatically look for you. And that's one reason why we're tracking the URL here. So I could, once a month maybe, and I don't know if I would do it much more than that. I think once a month is probably pretty appropriate. I would go through my list here, and I'd be checking to see where I'm at. Because if you're doing SEO and you're not starting to see your rankings improve, either you're not doing SEO the right way or you need to do more of it because it's not effective enough. So that's why you want to kind of check this on a monthly basis. So I would go through here and I'd say, okay, not applicable. And I could even put a date if I want, not applicable as of, what is it, 1/8 today? 1/8/15, okay? So I'm not ranking, in other words. But let's say I did it for Pearl Bracelet and I was ranking. So I might say, page 1 as of 1/8/15, right? And you can track this however you want, but you'll track your ranking, and once you hit a page 1 ranking, maybe you're solid, maybe you'll be able to stay there. And then notes, if you've got some notes about things that you're trying to do, I'm doing link building to this page specifically via directories or whatever it is. You can put whatever your strategy is as to what you're doing for your SEO. So that's beyond the scope of what we're doing today, though, guys. This whole exercise is to completely organize your guys' whole SEO strategy before you even start, which is one of the biggest mistakes most amateur marketers make. They just kind of willy-nilly. They're hoping to get rankings in Google, and they're doing a little link building, and then they think, oh, wouldn't it be great to rank for this keyword phrase or that keyword phrase? It just doesn't work very well. Like, be organized about it. If you're organized about it, you're going to see results. Stuff that you're not tracking, it's hard to really measure and see results. Any good SEO company that's doing this on an enterprise level, like our company, we have a marketing department that would carry on like this and be very organized about rankings. So I wanted to show you guys this so that you could do the same. And this, remember, is all saved automatically. So this keyword phrase sheet is saved. If I just click out of it, I'm just going to close it down. And then let's say later I go to my Gmail account. A couple days later, I want to get on and keep working on this. I can go back over here to this icon up here, go to my Google Drive, drive.google.com, and I can find my keyword spreadsheet that I've been working on. It's this one right here. And I can just double click on it and bring it up, and I've got it. It's automatically saved. It's saved to the cloud. So it's not on your hard drive, which is nice. So I can work on it here. If I'm visiting my in-laws and I don't have my computer, it's on my desktop at home, no big deal. I can still access it, and that's why this is kind of a cool way to track it. Plus, guys, it's free. Don't pay for some fancy internet tool out there that does this kind of stuff for you. There's definitely some out there. I'm telling you, just doing it manually like this is a cheap and really good way to do it. So voila, there's our spreadsheet. We're ready to start our SEO, which we're going to be doing together in subsequent weeks. Next week, maybe we'll get in and sort of address your question, Laura. It's like, okay, we did all this. I now know that I'm targeting pearl jewelry for my homepage, but so what? Like, how do I actually do that? Well, that'll be for subsequent weeks. We'll talk about that soon. So be organized. That's the big takeaway today, and hopefully this was valuable to help you stay organized as you get started. Let me check questions real quick, and then we'll finish up. Sorry, this has gone a little long. Thanks for putting up with me for an hour. It just took that long to do it. In fact, I'm going to answer a few of these off the air. So I'm gonna stop the recording for those of you guys that are watching this recorded. Thank you for coming.